With me right now, straight off the witness stand, is Ryan Burns, the former lover of Jodi Arias, who has just come off the witness stand testifying under oath. Ryan, thank you for being with us. What was it like in court in the last couple of hours sitting there with her looking at you and taking notes, and you're talking about this sex encounter you had, knowing it now, in hindsight, it's just a couple of hours after she stabbed Travis Alexander to death, then she hops up on top of you?
Right. I mean, obviously very awkward, extremely awkward. I mean, it's hard to believe you're this close to something that's so dramatic. I really didn't think she could have possibly done. And for a month after she was there at my house, she explained that she was never there at Travis's, and you know, that the truth would eventually come out of who really hurt him, and that was the whole story that she fed everybody until up to the point she was arrested.
So, Ryan, did you ask her about it? Did you ask her, were you involved? And if so, what propelled you to do that?
You know, we talked quite a few times even after, you know, it came out. But again, we didn't really know. She called me at 4 a.m. 4 or 5 days after she was at my house. I didn't answer the phone. She called me 3 or 4 times. I actually called her in the morning and asked her if everything's okay. Normally, she didn't call me at 4 a.m. in the morning. She said no. She was in tears, it sounded like, and she said that Travis had died. I said, Travis who? She said, Travis Alexander. And I said, your ex-boyfriend? I mean, Travis just died? And she confirmed, and I was shocked. You know, because he was such a young guy, happy, everybody loved him, motivational speaker, totally turned my business around. When I was ready to quit in the beginning, first 3 months, he was kind of the guy that came into town, and I showed up to that training not even knowing if I was going to do the business anymore 3 months in, and I laughed, I cried, and he was an incredible speaker. It just seemed like not the type of guy that would commit a suicide or something like that. I even asked her, is he suicidal? And she said no. No, she didn't think he was. And I said, how did he die so young? And she said they're looking at it like a suspicious death. And I said, like somebody killed him. And she said, yeah, that might have been what happened. I don't know yet. And so, you know, that's how that, you know, all came out. That she was
and
the one
then
that told
she
me
went
that
on
morning.
to say she didn't have anything to do with it. When was the last time? The last time you spoke with her, what was her story that time? Because she's changed it quite often.
The entire time, in fact, for 2 or 3 weeks after Travis had died, I didn't think she could have possibly done it. People were saying that she, you know, was gone and missing for those 24 hours, and I kind of reminded people that we didn't know when Travis died. I mean, I didn't know if he died the night that she called me, the day before she called me. People were coming to the conclusion that he died 4 days prior, which happened to fit the story of her being missing, and I thought that was a lot to come to a conclusion because we didn't have any information, at least I didn't know of any information from the detective or anybody else. And so I didn't believe she had killed him, yeah.
Well, when was the last time you actually spoke to her?
Probably the night before she was arrested. She always seemed calm. She had never seemed like there was a problem when she was with me. When the time frame came out, to think that she called me and I talked to her for maybe an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, when I was at the Cheesecake Factory, which was only 3 or 4 hours after he was killed, is what I'm hearing now. And so for that whole hour, we talked about simple things, giggling about just little jokes, just like a normal conversation you would think. Obviously very abnormal when you in retrospect, but she was always seemed just like the Jodi that I'd been talking to for 5 or 6 weeks, the entire 14 hours she was with me the day after Travis died.
Okay, Ryan Burns, this is so incredible to all of us listening. And listen, you know, I claim to have seen it all, having prosecuted felonies for, you know, a decade. But hearing you talk about this is just riveting to me, that she's giggling like a schoolgirl and having a regular conversation with you, just, you know, right after stabbing him to death.